Okay, now we're building the first shelf with all the equipment in there, to hold the equipment in place. This is the first shelf. This shelf here is pretty critical because it holds so much weight. On the bottom side of it, I've got all the equipment, the inverter and the charger. And then on the back side of it here is going to be what the battery is setting on. So this has really got to be pretty strong shelf, for this to be able to hold in that box without it really busting up pretty hard. So now to protect the plastic of the box, we're going to use big old fender washers. I think they're 1.5 inches round, and we'll run our screws through that and sandwich it in so it really doesn't have a way to pull through the plastic. And that's the way we're planning on doing that. But this here is the bottom of the box, and the other side is the front part of the box. But you can sort of see how we mounted it's a 750 watt inverter, and it's a Shoemaker 8 amp charger. This is a AGM battery that we're using on this project. That's the red top, the gel. So that's the one we're going to use for the battery. It should be plenty enough to run about 3 hours. And that would give me 3 hours of run time. That's the battery there. It's the Optimum. This is the box that we've got to put it all in. This box here, why I chose it, because it works like its own dolly. So it just holds up, and you can roll it around like a dolly. So that's sort of, and then when I get there, all I got to unsnap it, remove the door, and it'll be set up all ready to perform. The battery at the bottom. Then we got the bigger speaker in the middle, facing towards the crowd in the right position that they're basically the head level, the face level. And then the little one will be stored in there somewhere. And we'll get that one in there. That goes into it screws on this. This is a mic stand, and the little speaker sits down on this part here. What I'm going to do is remove the pull, unscrew it out of this base, and I'm going to come right down through the top here, and I'm going to drill holes big enough to receive this through all these pieces, and I'm going to secure this at every angle and hold that long pole all the way down the side of this. And once I get it in there, it'll actually set and look like this. See how this sets right off to the top? You can see it or not. But then I can take that and I can screw this here, lift this up, or adjust the height, for my speaker and my laptop. Now I've got a device here that I'm going to try to use, and this is to mount my laptop to, and this should attach to this pole once I'm up, and I should be able to have my laptop right there where it's on the same pole, and everything is being secured from there. So that's sort of how I'm looking at it. The reason I'm going through all this here is because I did a few, outskirts like that, and the problem is finding the power to operate it. Sure, if I'm close to my van, I can always tether a power cord right from my van and run it off my batteries in the van. Or find shore power somewhere and plug in there. I'm going to set it up that way where I can do that, but I need something to where I can be totally remote. I mean, I can go right out on the beach and play this thing. I can go anywhere I need to park, anywhere I need to go. I can roll it right down the middle of a trail somewhere if that's where it's at, or whatever. And it'll all be able to run on batteries. And that's my goal, is to run it on batteries for at least a concert. And most concerts are usually, 2-hour gigs, 1-hour gig, 2-hour gigs, 3-hour gigs at the most. For most singing gigs anyway. So that's why I'm going with that battery, is to get me enough to at least do a 3-hour gig, and that's a lot of time. That's an awful lot of songs and a lot of singing, so you're pretty much worn out after you do that much. But that's sort of how I planned on doing this. And then I'm going to have it all dressed up the best I can. I'm going to be able to hold my mic, and everything is all going to be inside this case. That way, when I get done, all I got to do is roll this over to my van, pick it up, set it in place, and then I can plug it in and charge it, off the truck. So I'll roll it over like this after I get this all cleaned out. But it'll actually be sitting in between the two seats there. And then I'll be able to, bungee it around that box and hold it in place, and that way it's not taking up too much of my room. But as you can tell, my van's a total disaster right now with all the stuff that I've got to try to pack around and move around. But I've got plenty of power here. I've got many different ways of charging it. I can even go a supercharge on it, 100 amps at a time. Probably charge that battery in 30 minutes at 100 amps. It'll pump that battery full of power. So that's what but I have that capability if I need to. And then I've also got my generator. I can run it, and I can also charge it all with my generator too. So stay tuned as we put this together. I'll try to bring you back and show you our steps by steps, so hopefully I can make a decent video for you guys.